MMA lock of the night here, letting you guys know if you're looking for the full episode of Propping You Up, it's on the odds.com website. The link is in the description below, so make sure you guys go check that out. All right, let's keep things moving along. The next fight up, we got somebody we were just talking about, Karol Rosa against Joselyn Edwards, who herself just fought a couple weeks ago, made her UFC debut against Wu Yanan. She comes out on the winning end with a decision. In terms of the odds here, we got minus 245 for Karol Rosa and plus 205 for Joselyn Edwards. Serious steamage coming in on Karol Rosa. And you nailed it when you talked about her before. Like, the Procopio fight was great, but Rosa looked amazing. And I'm a huge fan of her. She looked even better in her Vanessa Mello fight, where she was able to mix in a couple takedowns and show off a complete MMA game. I think this girl has a pretty decent future ahead of her. Like, she has the volume. She's throwing 260 plus strikes every single fight. The output is there. The durability is there. The training camp is there. She's training with Jessica Andrade and that PVR team down there in Brazil. I think she has a very high ceiling. Jocelyn Edwards as well. I think she has potential, but stylistically, I think this is a tough fight. Now, this is almost similar to the Wu Yanan fight in terms of possible damage against output, but not only are you getting output with Karol Rosa, you're getting solid technique. You're getting great combinations, ending with kicks. Like, she has such a variety of strikes in her arsenal compared to Wu Yanan, who's just mainly just throwing punches out there, not really much method to her madness. Whereas Karol Rosa, she knows what she's going for. She knows the combinations that she's going to be striking, and she can find those openings for takedowns when it's required. Jocelyn Edwards, on the other hand, very offensive, very fun to watch too. Very good first round against Wu Yanan in terms of winning fans over. Very aggressive off her back. That's one worry that I have in this fight. If Karol Rosa does want to take this fight to the ground, I believe Rosa is a black belt, but still the offensive nature, and you mix in the MMA aspect to this jiu-jitsu equation, Jocelyn Edwards could possibly catch her in something. But I like what I see from both women, but I'm slightly higher on Karol Rosa. Now, the line, in my opinion, a little bit too wide. I'm not a fan of playing minus 225 or minus 245 straight up on Karol Rosa. Possible parlay piece, but we are searching for props here. And the prop that I like the most, we're getting even money, plus 100, baby. Karol Rosa via decision. I think that's the spot to go with here. I think Edwards is quite durable. I think she'll be able to take the shots, but I think she's just not going to be able to live up or at least catch up to the work rate of a Karol Rosa, who's going to continuously be throwing combinations, not be deterred with what's coming back at her. So yeah, I like Karol Rosa plus 100 via decision. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. Edwards is not a bad fighter by any stretch. I mean, she looked UFC caliber in her debut. This is somebody that was talked about by a lot of fans in the regional scene being like, hey, keep your eye out on her. Jocelyn Edwards has got legitimate skills. And then coming into the UFC, it's 50-50 fight against Wu Yanan. And you and I talked about it on the prop show. The fight was 50-50, but Jocelyn Edwards by decision was plus 260. It just didn't really make sense. It was just like, if she's going to win this fight, it's likely going to be a decision. She goes out there. She does get the decision. But boy, oh boy, man, she's shown a refined game. I mean, the grappling looked on point for a fighter coming out of Panama, by way of Iowa, or coming out of Iowa by way of Panama. It's like, man, that armbar was tight. I mean, her aggressiveness on the ground, especially as far as standing up, she's got good kicks. She's got great footwork. She's slick. She's got good technical striking. But the two things, and listen, it was a near shutout performance, let's say, against Yanan. But the two things that I took out of that fight that I didn't particularly like against her is that you could press her up against the cage and outmuscle her against the cage. And Wu did it a little bit, just wasn't able to do much with it. The other thing too is that she'd have these lulls. Like, Edwards would attack and then just like lull and wait. And I remember thinking to myself, like, Wu just needs to attack. Like, does she have good cardio? She's got good cardio. Just like push the pace on her, do a little bit more. The judges will reward you for it. And she just didn't have it. She was just like already mentally defeated. But that's a 25-year-old Chinese fighter who hadn't fought in a year and a half and had limited skills to her disposal versus Karol Rosa, who, as I mentioned, the two things that I took away that Edwards may have not done great in that fight is two things that Karol Rosa excels at. Listen, as far as clinching up against the cage, she's strong, man. Yeah. This girl's real strong. And then as far as these lulls, there are no lulls. She just attacks all the time. She just keeps coming forward. So your best bet is to chin check her, but I don't think Edwards is going to knock her out. And then as far as the catching her in the submission, listen, she had a really couple nice-looking submission attempts against Wu, but nothing stuck, right? And now she's taking on a legitimate BJJ black belt out of Brazil who's 135 pounds and big and thick and strong. And Wu was someone who got out-muscled by Gina Mazzani like it was no problem. Like, now you're taking on a physical fighter who's got the experience, who's got two quality wins in the UFC, in which she, as you mentioned, threw over 250 significant strikes. And just, has good cardio and has, you know, her ring IQ leaves something to be desired. But like when you have that much work rate and you're aggressive, like you get away with making a couple errors here and there. And that's something that she does. So I think Edwards probably gets overwhelmed a little bit. I don't like the odds. I don't like the odds at minus 220 because Edwards just showed us that she's actually a quality fighter. She might look a little bit better this time around. The quick turnaround probably doesn't hurt her. You know, she's got to shake some of that ring rust and inactivity off. That's all well and good. 220 is just not a very good price tag. But the plus 100 Rosa by decision, I'm in on that,
baby.
Because I seen Rosa on top of Vanessa Mello and there was still no submission, right? So yeah, as far as like high level submissions, like maybe that's not on the table. And I seen her absolutely batter two girls pillar to post with her best punches, you know, and they also live to tell the tale. So I would say if she's going to win this fight against Edwards, who's pretty tough, that she's probably going to win it by decision. If you don't feel like going that route, and it's chalky, but the fight to just go the distance, right? You don't agree with Rosa. You don't agree with the price. You like Edwards. If Edwards is going to win, what? She couldn't put away Wu. She's not putting away this girl. So again, it would be an Edwards by decision. You'd be covered both sides, but it's minus 205. It's not a great price tag, but fight goes the distance. Minus 205 is probably one of those like safer plays on the card, I would think.
Yeah, no, I like Rosa. Pretty much playing her by decision is like playing her straight up almost. Like, I don't think she's going to finish Edwards here. I think she has a bright future. Very much looking forward to what she brings to the table.